The ceiling is covered in teeth. That's the first thing I see when I open my eyes. Hundreds of human molars embedded in cracked plaster, arranged in perfect concentric circles, spiraling inward toward a dark stain directly above my face. The second thing I notice is that I can't feel my left hand. I sit up fast, too fast. The room tilts sideways and I catch myself on the edge of a metal cot. My left hand is there, still attached, but the fingers are black from the knuckles down. Not bruised, not frostbitten. Black like charcoal, like something burned the color out of my skin from the inside. I flex them. They move fine. No pain. That's worse than pain. The room is small. Concrete walls, one door, steel, sealed shut with something welded across the handle. A folding table with 3 items on it, a half-empty water bottle, a weathered notebook, and a knife with no handle, just blade wrapped in electrical tape. I grab the knife first. The notebook has one sentence written on the inside cover in handwriting I recognize as my own. Don't trust the ones who remember your name. I don't remember writing it. I don't remember this room. I don't remember how I got here, and when I tried to reach back further, to yesterday, to last week, to anything before this moment, I hit a wall. Not fog, not blurriness. A wall. Like someone poured concrete into the back of my skull and sealed everything behind it. My name. I know my name. Kael. I know I'm 23. I know I was in Seoul when... When what? The wall again. Hard and smooth and absolute. Something hits the steel door from the outside. Not a knock, an impact. The whole frame shudders and dust falls from the tooth-covered ceiling. A molar drops and bounces off my shoulder. I grip the knife tighter. A second impact. The weld on the handle cracks. Third impact. The door bends inward 2 inches, and through the gap I see a hallway lit by emergency lights, red and pulsing, and something moving out there. Something with too many joints in its arms. I look around the room for another exit. There's a ventilation grate near the floor, barely wide enough for my shoulders. I drop down and pull at the grate. The screws are already stripped, like someone tried this before. The door takes a 4th hit. The weld splits completely. I rip the grate free, shove the knife between my teeth, and crawl. The vent shaft is hot, not warm. Hot, like the walls themselves are running a fever. My blackened fingers scrape along the metal, and I notice something strange. Where my left hand touches the surface, the heat fades. The metal turns cold, then frost white, and a thin layer of ice crystallizes around my fingertips before evaporating. I don't understand it. I keep crawling. Behind me, the door gives in. I hear it collapse inward, followed by a sound that doesn't belong to any animal I've ever known. A wet, clicking chatter, like someone cracking knuckles inside a garbage disposal. I crawl faster. The shaft branches. Left goes down and the air from that direction smells like copper and rot. Right goes up and I can feel moving air. Outside air. I go right. 30 seconds later, I punch through a rusted grate and spill out onto a rooftop. Sunlight hits me and I squint, expecting a city. What I get is a graveyard. Seoul is gone, not destroyed, not bombed, gone in a way that doesn't make architectural sense. Buildings are fused together, walls merged like melted candles, glass windows warped into organic curves. The Han River is visible from here, except it's not flowing anymore, it's standing. The water rises in vertical columns, hundreds of them, like a forest of liquid pillars reaching into a sky that's the wrong color. The sky is white, not cloudy, white, like someone took an eraser to it and removed every feature, every cloud, every gradient. And hanging in that blank white emptiness, perfectly centered, is a black circle. Not the sun, not an eclipse. A hole, a gap in the sky itself, ringed by a faint violet shimmer, and it's pulsing. Slowly, like a heartbeat. I stare at it, and my left hand throbs. The black fingers twitch on their own, reaching upward toward that hole for half a second before I clench my fist and force them down. Something in me wanted to reach back. I take a breath, then another. My heart is hammering so hard I can feel it in my teeth. Okay. I'm on a rooftop, somewhere in what used to be Gangnam, based on the general shape of the skyline, though most of the landmarks are unrecognizable now. The building I'm standing on is maybe 8 stories. Below me, the streets are empty. No people, no cars, nothing moving except thin trails of black mist that drift between the fused structures like lazy snakes. The notebook is still in my back pocket. I pull it out and flip past the first page. Page 2 is a list. My handwriting again, but shakier. Rushed. Rule 1. Don't be outside when the sky pulses twice. Rule 2. Sealed rooms can't be entered by the hollow. No one knows why. Rule 3. Water that stands vertical is dead. Don't touch it. Rule 4. If you hear your own voice calling you, run. Rule 5. The fifth line is scratched out so violently the pen tore through the paper. 5 rules. 1 destroyed. Written by a version of me I can't remember. I read them again, then a third time. Rule 1 catches my attention. I look up at the sky. The black circle pulses once while I watch. That slow, rhythmic contraction and expansion. I don't know the interval, but I've been out here for maybe 2 minutes and I've seen 1 pulse. I need to get off this rooftop. I need to find people. I need to find out what happened to the world and why my hand looks like it belongs to a corpse and why I left myself a note saying not to trust anyone who knows my name. I pocket the notebook, grip the tape-wrapped knife, and find the rooftop access door. It's unlocked. The stairwell is dark but intact. I descend. The building's interior is wrong in subtle ways. The stairs go down 8 flights, but the floors don't match. Floor 7 has normal doors. Floor 6 has no doors at all, just smooth wall where doors should be. Floor 5 has a hallway that curves upward like the inside of a throat. I don't go down that one. Floor 3 is where I find the first body. A man, maybe 40, slumped against the wall near a fire extinguisher. He's been dead for a while. His skin is gray and papery, stretched tight over his bones like something drained him from the inside. His mouth is open. His teeth are missing. Every single tooth gone. I think of the ceiling in that room. I think of the concentric circles. My stomach turns, but I keep moving. I check his pockets, because this is the apocalypse, and the dead don't need supplies. He has a lighter, a transit card that's obviously useless, and a crumpled piece of paper with a crude map drawn on it. The map shows this neighborhood. Several buildings are marked with X's. One building, 6 blocks east based on the scale, is circled and labeled with a single word. Haven. Haven. A settlement. People. My past self told me not to trust people who remember my name. That implies there are people alive who might. I take the lighter and the map. I leave the transit card. The ground floor exits onto a street that was once a 4-lane road. Now it's narrower, compressed by the buildings that fused on either side, creating a canyon of twisted concrete and glass. The black mist trails along the ground ankle high. I step into it carefully. The mist parts around my left hand, just my left hand. It curls away from those blackened fingers like smoke avoiding a flame, creating a small, clear pocket of air near my side. I don't understand that either, but I file it away. I move east. The streets are quiet in a way that feels intentional, not empty, held, like the silence before someone screams. My footsteps echo off the warped walls, and every echo comes back slightly distorted, a half-beat delayed, pitched a little too low. 3 blocks in, I find the first sign of other survivors. It's a barricade made from overturned vending machines, office desks, and what looks like an entire elevator door ripped from its housing. Someone spray-painted a symbol on the elevator door, a circle with a vertical line through it. Same symbol that's on the map marking Haven. I approach the barricade, no one visible, no sounds. "Hello," I call out. My voice hits the warped buildings and comes back to me in fragments. Hell, low, low, low. I wait. Nothing. I start to climb the barricade. A crossbow bolt hits the vending machine 6 inches from my head. I drop flat. Next one goes through your throat. A woman's voice. Above me. I look up and see a figure on a 3rd-floor balcony. A real balcony that hasn't been warped, holding a crossbow that looks homemade but very functional. She's young, maybe my age, with short hair and a scar that runs from her left ear to the corner of her mouth. I'm not hollow, I say, which feels like the right thing to say based on the rules in my notebook. Prove it. How? She considers this for exactly 1 second. Touch the barrier with your bare hand. Both hands. Hollow can't touch sealed objects. I press my right hand against the elevator door. Nothing happens. Normal contact. Then I press my left hand against it. The metal freezes solid under my fingers. Frost spreads outward in jagged lines, crackling across the surface. The spray-painted symbol distorts and then shatters, flaking off in frozen chips. The woman's crossbow lowers an inch. What the hell was that? I don't know, I say, and I mean it. That's not a normal awakening. I don't know what a normal awakening is. She stares at me for a long time. Long enough for me to feel the sky pulse above us. Once. That makes 2 since I've been outside. I don't know the interval. I don't know how many I get before Rule 1 kicks in. Get inside, she says. Fast. The next pulse is in 4 minutes, and you don't want to be in the open when the sky blinks. Blinks. She calls the double pulse a blink. I climb the barricade. On the other side, a narrow passage leads through the ground floor of a building that's been gutted and reinforced. Corrugated metal walls. LED lanterns running off car batteries. A second barricade on the far end, heavier than the first. Between the 2 barricades, 6 people are watching me. 3 of them are holding weapons, a pipe, a fire axe, a pistol with what looks like 3 rounds left in a clear magazine. The other 3 are sitting near a small propane stove. One is a kid, maybe 12, clutching a backpack like it's a life raft. The woman with the crossbow drops down from an interior staircase and lands in front of me. Name, she says. I remember the notebook. Don't trust the ones who remember your name. Does it matter? I say. She almost smiles. Almost. It does here. Names are currency. You give yours, you get entry. You lie, we find out. You're out on the street before the next blink. Kael, I say, because I don't have another option and I need to be inside. No one reacts to the name. No one's eyes flicker with recognition. Good. That means no one here remembers me, which means, according to my own rules, I can extend a minimal amount of trust. I'm Sarah, the crossbow woman says. Welcome to the outer ring of Haven. This isn't Haven proper. Haven proper is underground, about 2 blocks east. You don't get in there without clearance from the council. Council? 3 people run Haven. Maddox, the guy who found the underground complex and sealed it. Dr. Yoon, the only person with medical training, and the broker. The broker have a real name? Probably. Nobody uses it. He controls the supply chain. You want food, water, medicine, information, you go through him. Everything has a price. I nod. Already I can see the shape of this place. Maddox controls access. The doctor controls health. The broker controls resources. A triangle of power, and from the way Sarah says his name, the broker is the corner nobody likes but everyone needs. What's the price for entry to Haven proper, I ask? Contribution? Supplies, labor, combat ability, or information? You bring something the council values, you get a bed underground. You don't. You stay in the outer ring. Out here. She gestures at the barricaded corridor, the 6 people, the kid with the backpack. The outer ring is above ground. Yes. And above ground is dangerous. During a blink? Yes. Between blinks, manageable. So the people who can't pay stay in the place, most likely to get them killed. Sarah's expression doesn't change. Now you're catching on. I look at the kid. The kid looks back at me with eyes that are too old for his face. What counts as information? I ask. Depends on what you know. She tilts her head. You said you don't know what a normal awakening is. That means you just woke up. Recently. Memory loss? Wall, I say. Not fog. Wall. Something shifts behind her eyes. Interest, wariness, both at once. That's new. Most people who wake up have fragments, bits and pieces. Nobody I've met has described a wall before. She pauses. That might be worth something to Dr. Yoon. My memory loss is my ticket in. Your anomaly is your ticket in. That thing your hand did to the barrier wasn't any of the 7 documented awakening types. Dr. Yoon would want to study it. The council would want to classify it. And if they can't classify it, Sarah doesn't answer that one. She just loads another bolt into her crossbow with the practiced ease of someone who's done it 1,000 times. I'll take you to Haven Entrance. What happens after that is between you and the council. She starts walking. I follow. The man with the pistol watches me go. He doesn't blink once. The passage to Haven proper leads through a collapsed parking garage, down a service ramp, and into what was once a subway maintenance tunnel. The walls down here are reinforced with something that looks like resin, but feels like stone when I brush my right hand against it. My left hand I keep in my pocket. Sarah walks fast and talks little. I learn 3 things during the walk. 1. The apocalypse happened 17 days ago. 2. Approximately 300 people survived in this district. 140 are in Haven proper. The rest are scattered in outer ring outposts like the one I just left. 3. No one has made contact with anyone outside the district. The fused buildings create an impassable labyrinth in every direction. As far as anyone in Haven knows, they're the last people alive. 17 days. I lost 17 days behind that wall in my head. The maintenance tunnel opens into a wider space that was clearly a subway platform once. Now it's been transformed. Temporary walls divide the platform into sections. Sleeping quarters, judging by the cots. A medical area marked with a red cross painted on a hanging sheet. A storage cage with an actual padlock, watched by a woman with a shotgun who nods at Sarah and stares at me. The broker's cage, Sarah says without looking at it. People are down here, dozens of them. They move with the quiet efficiency of survivors who've already established routines. Nobody is panicking. Nobody is idle either. Everyone has a task, a direction, a purpose. It's organized, impressively so for 17 days. Too organized. Where's the council? I ask. Maddox and Dr. Yoon are in the command room, end of the platform through the service door. Sarah stops walking. The broker is around. He finds you. You don't find him. She looks at me directly. One piece of advice. Free of charge, which is rare around here. I'm listening. When you meet Maddox, don't show him the hand. Show Dr. Yoon in private. Maddox doesn't study things he can't classify. He eliminates them. She turns and walks back the way we came. I stand on the platform of this underground haven, surrounded by survivors, holding a knife I don't remember acquiring, with a notebook of rules written by a version of myself I can't access, and a left hand that does things hands shouldn't do. My pulse is steady now. The initial panic has burned off, and what's left is something colder, harder, something that feels less like fear and more like focus. I'm going to find out what happened, to the world, to me, to the 17 days I lost. I'm going to find out why my own handwriting told me to trust no one. I walk toward the service door. The command room is smaller than I expected. A converted electrical hub, cables still running up the walls, most of them dead. A fold-out table with the map of the district spread across it, more detailed than the one I took from the dead man. Red zones marked with skulls, blue zones marked with that circle and line symbol, and one area, 3 blocks north, marked in yellow with a question mark. 2 people are standing over the map. The first is a big man, not tall, but wide, built like a compressed engine block, all shoulders and forearms. His head is shaved, and his jaw is set in a permanent clench. He has a holstered handgun on his hip and a metal brace on his left leg that clicks when he shifts weight. This is Maddox. I know it before anyone says a word. He looks like a man who found a bunker and decided it was his kingdom. The second is a woman in her 50s, thin, wearing glasses that are cracked on one lens. Her hands are steady and stained with iodine. Dr. Yoon. She looks up when I enter and studies me the way a surgeon studies an X-ray. Clinical, thorough. Not unkind, but not warm either. Sarah sent a message ahead, Maddox says without preamble. His voice is flat and heavy. You woke up topside. Memory loss, unclassified ability. That about cover it? That covers it. Name, Kael. His eyes don't react. Good. Everyone contributes, Maddox says. Haven isn't a shelter. It's a machine. Every part works or gets replaced. Dr. Yoon will assess your ability. Based on her assessment, you'll be assigned a role. Refuse the role. You're back in the outer ring. What are the roles? Scavenger, wall guard, scout, maintenance, medical assistant if Yoon thinks you're useful. He counts them on fingers thick as rebar. Or combat if you can fight. I can fight. I don't know how I know this, but my body knows things my mind doesn't. The way I gripped the knife, the way I dropped flat when the crossbow bolt hit, reflex memory, muscle memory, whatever survived behind the wall. Maddox looks at Dr. Yoon. She nods slightly. Assessment first, she says. Come with me. She leads me to a smaller room adjacent to the command center. It's set up as a lab, crude but functional. A blood pressure cuff, a stethoscope, vials, a microscope that looks like it was pulled from a university. And on the wall, a chart. The chart lists 7 awakening types in neat handwriting. Type 1, physical enhancement, strength, speed, durability. Type 2, elemental manipulation, fire, ice, electrical. Type 3, sensory expansion, enhanced vision, hearing, detection range. Type 4, biological, healing, poison, organic growth. Type 5, kinetic, telekinesis, force projection. Type 6, barrier, shield generation, sealing. Type 7, resonance, communication with hollows, unstable, high mortality. 7 types. I think of my left hand freezing the metal barrier. That looks like type 2 on the surface. But Sarah said it wasn't any documented type. Sit, Dr. Yoon says. I sit on a stool. She takes my blood pressure, checks my pupils with a pen light, listens to my heart. Elevated but stable, pupils responsive, no visible infection markers. She writes in a binder, now. Show me what you can do. I pull my left hand from my pocket. She sees the blackened fingers and her pen stops moving. How long has it been like this? Since I woke up? Maybe before. I don't know. Does it hurt? No. Nothing. That's unusual. Awakened abilities that present physically usually come with significant pain during manifestation. She sets down the pen and picks up the pen light, shines it on my fingertips, studies them. No necrosis, no cell death. The pigmentation change is structural, like the melanin was replaced with something else entirely. She goes to the table and picks up a metal tray, sets it in front of me. Touch it. Left hand, like you touch the barrier. I press my blackened fingers to the tray. The frost comes. Faster this time. The tray goes white and the temperature drops so sharply I can see my breath. But there's more. The tray doesn't just freeze. It changes. The metal surface ripples, just for a second, like the boundary between solid and liquid blurred. And in that ripple, I see something. An image. A flash. Gone almost before I register it. A room. A different room, not the tooth-sealing room. Clean walls. Bright lights. Me strapped to a chair, with wires running from my left arm to a machine I don't recognize. And standing behind the machine, adjusting dials with careful hands, the image vanishes. The tray is just a frozen tray. My hand is just a blackened hand. My heart is slamming. What did you see? Dr. Yoon asks. I look at her. What? Your pupils dilated, your heart rate spiked. I could hear it without the stethoscope. You saw something. What? She's sharp. Too sharp to lie to. A memory, I think. A room. Medical equipment. Someone was doing something to my arm. She writes rapidly. The wall in your memory. You described it to Sarah as a wall, not fog. Is that accurate? Yes. And this flash just now? It came through the wall? Like a crack in it. Just for a second. She stops writing, sits back, looks at me over her cracked glasses with an expression I can't fully read. I've assessed 47 awakened individuals in 17 days. Every one of them fits neatly into one of the 7 types. Some are weak, some are strong, but they're all classifiable. She pauses. You're not. What am I? I don't know yet, but I'll tell you what I told the last unclassifiable person I encountered. There was someone else. Her face tightens, just a flicker. Pain, quickly controlled. There was. 11 days ago. A young woman. She could touch the hollows without being consumed. We couldn't classify her either. Where is she now? Dr. Yoon stands up and walks to the door. She opens it, checks the hallway, then closes it again. Maddox classified her as a Type 7 resonance, said she was a liability, said the hollows would track her signal back to Haven. And he put her outside the barriers during a blink. The words sit in the air between us. I hear them, I understand them. A cold wire tightens in my chest. He killed her. He made a tactical decision. That's what he'd tell you. That's what he told the council. The broker agreed. I was outvoted. She looks at me steadily. I'm telling you this because you need to understand where you are. Haven keeps you alive. But Haven is not safe. Not from the things outside and not from the people inside. Maddox protects the settlement with absolute pragmatism. If your ability can be useful, you'll be tolerated. If it can't be classified and controlled, you become a variable. Maddox does not tolerate variables. I think of Sarah's warning. Don't show him the hand. What do you recommend? I ask. I recommend I list you as a probable Type 2 elemental with ice subtype manifestation. It's close enough. It'll get you assigned, get you a bed, buy you time. Time for what? Time for me to figure out what you actually are. And time for you to figure out what's behind that wall in your head. She pauses. Because I have a theory that the two things are connected. And if I'm right, what's locked inside your memory might be the most important piece of information in Haven. She holds out her hand. Do we have an arrangement? I shake it with my right hand. One more thing, she says as I stand to leave. The broker will approach you. He approaches every new arrival. He'll offer you something you want in exchange for something you don't think matters. Don't take the deal. Whatever he offers, the price is always higher than it looks. I nod and walk back into the main platform. The survivors move around me like water around a stone. I find the cot I've been assigned in a row of 20 near the far wall. I sit down. I pull out the notebook. I read the rules again. Rule 1. Don't be outside when the sky pulses twice. Rule 2. Sealed rooms can't be entered by the hollow. No one knows why. Rule 3. Water that stands vertical is dead. Don't touch it. Rule 4. If you hear your own voice calling you, run. Rule 5. Destroyed 4 rules and a ghost. The 5th rule, the one I obliterated, might be the most important one. The violence of the scratching tells me that. You don't destroy information in the apocalypse unless keeping it is worse than losing it. Unless reading it does something. I close the notebook. You're the new one. I look up. A man is standing at the foot of my cot. He's average height, average build, wearing a clean jacket that somehow has no stains, no tears, no dust. In a bunker full of people wearing the apocalypse on their clothes, this man looks like he stepped out of a department store. He's smiling. It doesn't reach his eyes. I'm the broker, he says, and I have something that belongs to you. He holds up a photograph. Small, wallet-sized, creased. In the photograph, I'm standing next to a woman I don't recognize. We're both smiling. Behind us, a building with a sign I can't read. My arm is around her shoulder, and she's leaning into me with the comfort of someone who's done it 1,000 times. My chest cracks open. I don't know her. I don't remember her. But something behind the wall does, because my left hand is shaking so hard the black fingers blur. Where did you get that? My voice comes out wrong, scraped thin. The broker's smile widens by exactly 1 millimeter. That's the wrong question, Kael. The right question is, what are you willing to trade to find out who she is? I stare at the photograph, at a life I can't remember, at a face that makes my dead black hand tremble like it's trying to tear itself free and reach through the picture. And somewhere above us, muffled by 50 feet of earth and concrete and resin, The sky pulses. Once. I don't take the deal. It takes everything I have. Every shred of whatever cold, hard thing lives in the center of my chest where panic used to be. The photograph is right there. The woman's face is right there. And the thing behind the wall in my skull is screaming, throwing itself against the concrete, trying to crack through. But Dr. Yoon's warning is 12 minutes old and already proving itself. I need time to think about it, I say. The broker tilts his head. The smile doesn't move. It's fixed on his face like it was installed there. Of course. Take all the time you need. He slides the photograph into his jacket pocket. Clean jacket. No stains. But I should mention, I only make an offer once. If you walk away now, the next time we talk, the price goes up. Noted. He watches me for 3 seconds. Counting. I can feel him counting. Measuring. Calculating whether I'll break. Then he turns and walks away, weaving through the cots with the easy confidence of a man who owns every square inch of floor he steps on. I sit on my cot and press my right hand against my left until the shaking stops. Who is she? The question is a hook buried in my chest. I can feel it pulling. Every second I don't know the answer, it digs deeper. But I can't afford to bleed out on the broker's terms. Not yet. Not until I understand the currency down here well enough to know what I'm actually paying. I sleep. Or I try to. The platform is never fully dark. LED lanterns stay on at 30%, casting everything in a sickly amber. People shift, cough, murmur. Someone 3 cots down talks in their sleep. Fragments, numbers, coordinates maybe. No one wakes them. I dream of the chair, the clean room, the wires running from my arm to the machine. This time, there's more. The person behind the machine leans forward and I almost see their face, but the wall slams down like a guillotine and I jolt awake drenched in sweat. My left hand is frozen to the cot frame. A solid inch of black ice has formed around my fingers, fusing them to the metal. I pry them loose as quietly as I can. The ice sublimates in seconds, leaving no trace except the cold. Nobody saw, I think. The kid from the outer ring outpost is watching me from 4 cots over. The 12-year-old with the backpack. He's sitting up, knees drawn to his chest, eyes wide and reflective in the amber light. He saw. I hold his gaze. He holds mine. Neither of us speaks. Then he lies down and turns away. I don't sleep again. Morning in Haven is announced by a shift in the lighting. Someone switches the lanterns from amber to white, and a woman's voice echoes from the command end of the platform. Roll call. Task assignment. Everyone up. I learn the rhythm fast. Maddox runs the briefing from the command room doorway. He stands with his arms crossed over that compressed engine block of a chest and reads from a clipboard. Scavenger teams, wall patrol rotations, maintenance details, every name, every task, no discussion. I'm assigned to Scavenger Team 3, 4 people including me. A blink cycle gives us roughly 6 hours of safe surface time before the sky does its double pulse and the rules change. The team leader is a wiry man named Dak, who has Type 1 enhancement, speed subtype. He's fast enough to blur at short distances. I know this because the first thing he does when we assemble at the exit barricade is sprint 20 meters down the corridor and back in under 2 seconds. Keeps the joints warm, he says. He's not smiling. His eyes are constantly moving, tracking, calculating exit routes, even underground. The other 2 are a brother and sister, Jay and Myrai. He's Type 3 sensory, enhanced hearing. She's Type 6 barrier, weak but functional. She can generate a shield about the size of a car door and hold it for roughly 40 seconds before she's tapped out. 40 seconds, she says when she tells me. That's it. So don't put me in a position where I need 41. I like her immediately. They know me as the new Type 2 ice guy. Dr. Yoon's cover story. Nobody questions it. Elemental types are common enough. I keep my left hand gloved. Sarah gave me a work glove before I left the outer ring checkpoint. She didn't explain why. She didn't have to. We exit through the maintenance tunnel, up through the collapsed parking garage, and into the compressed streets. Daylight, white sky, Black circle pulsing its slow heartbeat above. Dak checks a battered digital watch. 5 hours 40 until the next blink window. We're hitting the pharmacy district, 4 blocks northwest. Intel says the buildings there aren't fully fused. There might be crawl access to the interiors. Intel from who? I ask. The broker's scouts. The broker has his own scouts. Jay snorts. The broker has his own everything. Scouts, supply caches, communication lines. Half the scavenger runs go through locations he's already mapped. We bring back what we find, and 30% goes to the broker's cage as a finder's fee. 30%. Used to be 20. He raised it last week. Maddox agreed because the broker's intel saves lives. Jay's jaw tightens. Allegedly. We move through the streets in formation. Dak on point, Jay listening, Murray and I in the middle. The black mist curls at our ankles. I notice it still parts around my left hand, even through the glove. 3 blocks in, Jay holds up a fist. Everyone stops. Clicking, he whispers. 11 o'clock. Maybe 60 meters. Multiple sources. The clicking. I remember it from the vent shaft. That wet, knuckle-cracking chatter. How many? Dak asks. Jay closes his eyes. Tilts his head like a satellite dish finding signal. 3. No. 4. One of them is big. Heavier footfalls. The others are standard. Hollows, Mireille says, and her voice has dropped to something barely above breath. This is the first time I'll see them. Really see them. Not through a gap in a broken door. Not as a silhouette with too many joints. Detour, Dak says. South alley. We go around. We backtrack and cut south through a gap between 2 fused buildings. The gap is barely shoulder width. We move single file. The warped walls press in on both sides, and I can feel the surfaces vibrating faintly, like the buildings themselves have a pulse. My left hand brushes the wall through the glove. The vibration stops where I touch. Just for a moment. Just in that spot. These buildings are alive. Or something in them is. We clear the gap and emerge on a street that's wider than the others. Intact enough to see what it used to be. Storefronts, a coffee shop with a sign still hanging, a convenience store with shattered windows, and across the street, standing perfectly still in front of what used to be a bank, is a hollow. I stop breathing. It's human-shaped. That's the worst part. It's the shape of a person, the way a shadow is the shape of the thing casting it. Tall, thin, arms hanging past its knees with 3 extra joints each, elbows bending in directions that make my brain itch. Its skin is gray-white and translucent. I can see dark shapes moving beneath the surface, like organs rearranging themselves in real time. Its face is smooth, no eyes, no nose, just a mouth, wide and lipless, and the mouth is full of teeth, human teeth, hundreds of them. Rows and rows packed in like a shark made from a dentist's nightmare. It's not moving. It's standing there, head tilted slightly, mouth half open, like it's listening. Dak's hand signals are sharp. Don't move. Don't breathe. Wait. Jay mouths something to me. They hunt by sound and vibration. Don't move. The hollow tilts its head the other direction, slowly, mechanically. The teeth in its mouth click against each other, and there it is, that sound. That wet, cracking chatter. It takes a step forward, then another. Moving away from us, down the street, each step accompanied by the soft clicking of hundreds of stolen teeth. It turns the corner and disappears. Nobody moves for 30 seconds. Clear, Jay whispers. We move. Faster now. The pharmacy district is 2 blocks ahead and we cover them in silence. There are gaps, crawl spaces, broken walls we can squeeze through. The team splits into pairs. Dak and Jay take the first building. Mireille and I take the second. The interior is trashed, but not empty. Shelves overturned, products scattered, but some things survived. Mireille finds a cache of antibiotics in a back room, sealed in a container that somehow stayed intact. I find painkillers, bandages, and 3 bottles of antiseptic. Then I find the door. It's in the back of the pharmacy, behind the employee area. A steel door, heavy gauge, with a keypad lock that's still powered by a backup battery. The light on the keypad is green. Green means sealed. Rule 2. Sealed rooms can't be entered by the hollow. Mireille, I call softly, back here.
I recognize this place.
She comes around the corner and sees the door. Her eyes widen.
Door.
That's sealed, like Haven sealed. Someone locked this before or right after the collapse. Can you open it? It's a keypad. We'd need the code. She examines the lock. 4 digits. Could be anything. I look at the keypad. My left hand twitches inside the glove. That pulling sensation again. Like something behind the wall reaching forward. I take off the glove. What are you doing? Mireille asks. I press my blackened fingers to the keypad. The frost comes. But it's different this time. Instead of spreading outward, it flows into the mechanism, into the circuitry. I can feel it. Not temperature, not cold. Information. Like my fingers are reading the electrical pathways the way Jay's ears read sound. Numbers surface in my mind, not memory, not knowledge, something else. Something my hand is translating from the keypad's own history. 7741. I pull my hand back and punch in the code. The lock clicks. The door swings inward. Mireille stares at me. Type 2 doesn't do that, I know. What are you? Still figuring that out. She looks at my hand, at the door, at me. I can see the calculation happening. Report this to Maddox and earn favor. Or keep it quiet and earn something else. An ally with an ability nobody understands. I won't say anything, she says, but you owe me. Fair. We enter the sealed room. It's not a storeroom, it's an office. Small, windowless, untouched by the fusion that warped everything else. A desk? A computer? Dead. A filing cabinet. And on the desk, arranged with deliberate precision, are 7 items. A syringe filled with black liquid, a radio military grade powered down, a laminated card with a string of alphanumeric codes, a photograph, different from the broker's, but showing the same building in the background with the same unreadable sign. A sealed envelope with a biohazard symbol stamped on it. A USB drive, and a handwritten note. The note says, Kael. If you're reading this, the wall is already cracking. Don't let them finish what they started. 5th rule, the sky is not the sky. My name, written by someone who isn't me. In handwriting I don't recognize. I read it 3 times. Each time the words hit different. The wall is already cracking. That's true. The memory flash from the tray, the numbers from the keypad, the cracks are getting wider. Don't let them finish what they started. Who is them? What did they start? 5th rule. The sky is not the sky. I look up reflexively, even though I'm underground, even though there's nothing above me but concrete and steel. The black circle hanging in that blank white emptiness. The pulse. The blink. The sky is not the sky. Then what is it? I pocket the note, the USB drive, the laminated card, and the photograph. I leave the syringe. Something about the black liquid makes my left hand recoil, and I've learned to trust that instinct even if I don't understand it. I leave the envelope too. Biohazard symbols mean something, and I don't have the context to know what. I take the radio. Even powered down, military-grade communication equipment is invaluable. Mireille watches me pocket everything. That note had your name on it. Yes. Someone knew you'd come here. Yes. Someone who knew the code to seal this room and knew you'd be able to open it. I don't answer that one because the implications are spiraling, and I need them to stop spiraling until I'm somewhere I can think. We need to go, I say, before Dak and Jay come looking. We seal the room behind us. I use the keypad to relock it. Mireille makes a quiet sound of surprise when the lock engages, like she expected me to leave it open. Might need to come back, I say. We rejoin the others outside. Dak has a bag full of canned food and Jay found batteries. Good haul. Nobody asks about the sealed door. Nobody knows. The walk back is faster. My mind is running at a speed that my legs can barely keep up with. Someone set that room up for me. Before the apocalypse or right after. They knew the pharmacy location, knew I'd end up on a scavenger team, knew my hand could crack the keypad, or they knew I'd figure it out. Either possibility means someone orchestrated my presence here, the memory loss, the tooth-covered ceiling, the cot with the notebook. I was placed, The question is by whom, and whether they're the same people the note warns about. We reach Haven's perimeter as the sky begins its pre-blink acceleration. I can feel it even underground. A pressure change. The air gets heavier, thicker, like the atmosphere itself is holding its breath. I hand over my scavenged supplies at the intake point. The woman with the shotgun at the broker's cage takes 30% without counting, just eyeballing the pile and pulling what she wants. The antibiotics go to the cage. All of them. Those should go to medical, Mireille says. They will, the woman says, after processing. Processing means the broker takes his cut. The antibiotics will reach Dr. Yoon, but not all of them. And the ones that don't will become currency in the broker's economy. Haven isn't a shelter. It's a machine. Maddox's words. But I'm starting to think the machine has two engines, and they're not both running in the same direction. I find Dr. Yoon in the medical area. She's treating a man with burns on his forearms. Type 2, fire awakened, who lost control during a surface run. His own flames ate through his sleeves and took the skin with them. He's conscious, but barely, teeth clenched, sweat pouring down temples. I wait until she's done. I found something, I say. I show her the note. Her face goes through 3 expressions in 2 seconds. Surprise, recognition, fear. Where did you find this? Sealed room, pharmacy district. My hand opened the keypad. Your hand decoded a lock? It read the electrical history. I don't know how else to describe it. She holds the note up to the light, examining the paper, the ink, the handwriting. This isn't fresh. This was written weeks ago, before the collapse. Someone prepared this room before the world ended. That's what I figured. The 5th rule. Did you have a 5th rule in your notebook? It was destroyed, scratched out. By you. By a version of me that knew reading it might be dangerous. She sits down. For the first time, she looks her age. Tired, worn through at the seams. The sky is not the sky. I've had suspicions. The white void above us doesn't behave like an atmosphere. It doesn't scatter light correctly. There's no weather, no wind patterns. The temperature is constant, day and night, regardless of the apparent position of illumination. You think we're not outside. I think outside might not mean what we assume it means. She folds the note carefully. I need to study this, and the other items you took. The USB drive. Do you have any way to power a computer? No, but I bet the broker does. Don't go to the broker. Not with this. Then we need another option, she thinks. There's a generator room on sublevel 2. The subway system had backup power for signaling equipment. If any of it survived, we might be able to rig a terminal. Can you get me access? Sublevel 2 is restricted. Maddox sealed it personally, said it was structurally unstable. Is it? She hesitates. That's answer enough. Nobody's been down there, she says. Nobody's verified the structural assessment. Maddox sealed it on day 3 and posted a guard. What's worth guarding on a supposedly unstable sublevel? That's the question I've been asking for 2 weeks. A sound echoes through the platform. Deep, resonant, felt more than heard. The blink. Even down here, the double pulse of the sky sends a pressure wave through the earth. People stop what they're doing. The lanterns flicker. A child starts crying somewhere near the sleeping quarters. 3 seconds. 5. 10. The pressure fades. The lanterns stabilize. Above us, on the surface, whatever Rule 1 protects against has just happened, and I was safely underground. But I think of the outer ring. Sarah. The 6 people in the barricaded corridor. The kid with the backpack who saw my hand freeze the cot. Do the outer ring shelters hold during blinks? I ask. Dr. Yoon's silence is surgical. Sometimes, she says. I lie on my cot that night staring at the amber ceiling, and I think about architecture, not buildings, power structures. Maddox controls who gets in and who stays out. He controls the seal on sub-level 2. He makes the tactical decisions, including who lives and who gets put outside during a blink. The broker controls resources, information, and now I know, communication. If there's a working radio anywhere in Haven, the broker either has it or knows about it. The military-grade radio I found might be the only one outside his network. Dr. Yoon controls medical knowledge and awakening classification. She's the one who decides what type you are, which means she's the one standing between unclassifiable people and Maddox's elimination protocol. She's protecting me. But protection in Haven has a shelf life. Maddox will want to see my ability demonstrated, publicly. And when I show ice that reads electrical systems and freezes things with structural impossibility, the Type 2 cover story evaporates. I need answers before that happens. I need sub-level 2. I wait until the platform is as quiet as it gets. 2 a.m. by Dax watch, which I bartered for with a bottle of antiseptic. The posted guard at the sub-level 2 entrance is a man named Go. Type 1 enhancement, durability subtype, built like a wall, not the brightest. Known to fall asleep on shift, according to Jay, who hears everything, including the precise moment someone's breathing shifts from awake to unconscious. I asked Jay about the guard rotation during our surface run. Casual, conversational. He told me without thinking twice because information flows freely among scavenger teams. It's only at the council level that it becomes currency. 2:14 a.m. Jay told me Go's breathing shifts at roughly 2:10 every night. I move between the cots. Slow, careful. My left hand is bare. In the dark, the blackened fingers are almost invisible. The sub-level 2 access is a service stairwell at the far end of the platform, behind a chain-link gate with a padlock. Go is sitting in a folding chair beside it. His chin is on his chest. His breathing is deep and rhythmic, asleep. I touch the padlock with my left hand. The frost comes. The information comes. The lock's combination is mechanical, not digital, but my hand reads it anyway. Reads the wear patterns on the tumblers, the micro-scratches from repeated use, the molecular memory of metal stressed in the same pattern thousands of times. 3 turns. Right 22. Left 8. Right 31. The lock opens without a sound. I slip through the gate and close it behind me. The stairwell drops into darkness. I descend by touch, right hand on the railing, left hand hovering near the wall. Each step takes me deeper. The air changes, cooler, damper, and something else, a hum, low frequency, felt in the bones more than heard, constant and directional coming from below and to the left. The stairs end at a landing. A corridor stretches ahead, lit by a single emergency strip that's somehow still powered. The red light makes everything look like the inside of a vein. The corridor is not structurally unstable. The walls are solid. The ceiling is intact. No cracks, no warping, no fusion damage. Maddox lied. I follow the hum. The corridor branches once. The right branch is collapsed, genuinely collapsed, rubble floor to ceiling. The left branch is clear, and the hum is louder here, resonating in my molars. At the end of the left branch is a door. Steel. Heavy. No keypad. But there's a window. A small observation window set into the door at eye level. Thick glass with wire mesh embedded in it. I look through. The room beyond is large. It was a subway switching hub once. Control panels line the walls. Most are dead, but one panel on the far side is very much alive. Screens glowing. Readouts scrolling. Data I can't read from this distance, but data nonetheless. And in the center of the room, bolted to the floor with industrial clamps, is a machine. It's the machine from my memory. The same one. The exact same one. The chair beside it, the wires, the dials, everything. My left hand hits the glass and the frost explodes outward. The window cracks in a spiderweb pattern, and the ice forms shapes that aren't random. They're symbols, glyphs, a language my hand knows, but my mind doesn't. The hum spikes. The machine in the room reacts. Lights flash across its surface. A monitor flickers to life showing a waveform that matches the pulse of the black circle in the sky. Matching it exactly. The machine is connected to the sky, or the sky is connected to the machine. Or they're the same thing operating at different scales. The fifth rule was right. The sky is not the sky. And then a hand closes on my shoulder from behind. I spin. The knife is in my right hand before I complete the turn. The blade stops half an inch from a throat. The broker's throat. He's standing in the corridor behind me, clean jacket, installed smile, and not a trace of surprise on his face. He looks at the knife the way you'd look at a child's drawing. Mildly interested, completely unafraid. "I was wondering when you'd come down here," he says. "Took you longer than I expected." My left hand is still pressed to the cracked glass. The frost is still spreading. The glyphs are still forming. The broker glances past me at the window. At the symbols my hand is writing without my permission. His smile doesn't change, but something behind his eyes does. Something sharp and hungry and calculating shifts into place like a lens focusing. "You really don't remember, do you?" he says. It's not a question. "Remember what?" He reaches into his jacket and pulls out the photograph. The woman, my arm around her, the unreadable sign. "Her name is Saren," he says. "She's alive. She's on the other side of the barrier in the Eastern District. And she's looking for you." My hand shakes, but that's not the part that matters. He leans closer. Close enough that I can see his pupils don't dilate in the dark the way they should. They stay fixed. Pinpoint. Wrong. The part that matters is that you built this machine, Kael. Before the collapse. Before the sky changed. You built it. And then you erased your own memory so no one could make you turn it off. The corridor hums. The machine hums. My blood hums in my veins. "The apocalypse didn't happen to you," the broker says. "You happened to the apocalypse." Behind me, through the cracked glass, the machine's central screen flickers and displays two words in a font I recognize as my own design sensibility, clean and precise and merciless. Phase 2. And above us, muffled by concrete and steel and the weight of a world that used to make sense, the sky pulses once. The knife is still at his throat. My hand is still on the glass. And between those 2 points, my entire understanding of reality is folding in on itself like paper fed into a shredder. "You're lying," I say. The broker doesn't flinch. I don't lie. Lies are inefficient. I trade in facts, and facts have value precisely because they're verifiable. Then verify it. "How do you know I built this machine?" "Because I watched you build it." The words land like a hammer on glass. Something cracks behind the wall in my skull. Not a flash this time. Not a brief image. A fracture. Long and jagged and spreading. I see a workshop. Not this room. Somewhere else. Somewhere with natural light and coffee cups and whiteboards covered in equations I don't understand, but my hands remember writing. The broker is there. Younger. Different jacket. Same eyes. He's handing me a component. A crystalline cylinder that pulses with faint violet light, and I'm slotting it into a housing unit with the focused calm of someone who's done this particular motion 100 times. The memory fracture seals. The wall rebuilds itself. But it's thinner now. I can feel it. Like ice over deep water, still holding but creaking. "You knew me before," I say. "We were partners, colleagues. You were the architect. I was the acquisition specialist. I found the materials. You built the impossible things. What was the machine for?" The broker's pinpoint pupils shift to the observation window, to phase 2, glowing on the screen beyond. "You called it the Veil engine. It was supposed to create a localized dimensional membrane, a protective barrier around a single city block. Enough to shield a small population from what you predicted was coming." What was coming? Convergence. You had a theory that parallel dimensional layers were collapsing inward, compressing. That eventually the boundaries between layers would dissolve entirely and everything on every layer would occupy the same physical space simultaneously. The fused buildings, the vertical water, the hollows. That's not destruction. That's overlap. Multiple realities crushed into one. The fused buildings. Walls merged like melted candles, not destroyed, overlapped. 2 versions of the same structure forced to coexist. It fits. It fits too well. The Veil engine was supposed to prevent that, I say. In a limited area, yes. But something went wrong during activation. Instead of creating a local shield, He pauses. First time I've seen him pause. Inverted. Instead of pushing the convergence out, it pulled it in. accelerated it. What should have taken decades happened in seconds. The entire district collapsed into overlap. I caused this. You made an error in the calibration. One variable, one decimal point. And then, when you realized what was happening, you did something I still don't fully understand. He looks at my left hand, at the black fingers pressed against the frost-covered glass. You reached into the machine's active field with your bare hand and tried to shut it down manually. The dimensional energy didn't kill you. It bonded with you, fused with your cellular structure, made you into something that exists partially outside normal space. My left hand, the cold, the way it reads information, the way the mist parts around it, the way it wrote glyphs on the glass that I can't read, but my body knows. I'm not awakened. I'm contaminated. The machine's energy is living in my hand like a parasite that speaks a language older than human thought. And the memory loss? Self-inflicted. You knew that if you remembered how to operate the Veil engine, someone would force you to try again, to reverse the convergence. But reversal was impossible without the correct calibration, and the correct calibration died when the original equations were destroyed in the overlap. Any attempt to reverse without it would make things exponentially worse. So I erased myself. You erased the engineer, left the survivor, wrote yourself a notebook of rules and a warning not to trust anyone who knew your name. He glances down at his own clean jacket. Sound advice, honestly. I lower the knife, not because I trust him, because stabbing him won't undo any of this, and the information he's giving me is the most valuable thing I've encountered since waking up. Why are you telling me now? What's your play? Phase 2, he says simply. The Veil engine was designed with 2 phases. Phase 1 was the shield activation. Phase 2 was the anchor, a permanent stabilization field that would lock the dimensional layers in place and prevent further overlap. You never completed Phase 2. The machine is running on Phase 1, the broken, inverted Phase 1, and it's degrading. The overlap is expanding. Slowly, but measurably. How measurably? On day 1, the affected zone was 8 city blocks. Today, it's 14. By my calculations, in another 30 days, it'll cover the entire city. 60 days after that, the Korean peninsula. Within a year, everything. The scale of it hits me like a physical weight. Not just this district, not just Seoul. Everything. Every city. Every continent. Every layer of reality compressed into a single, screaming overlap. The hollows aren't monsters. They're people from another layer. Beings that exist on a different dimensional frequency, forced into our space, wearing shapes that our physics can't properly render. The teeth. The extra joints. That's not mutation. That's translation error. Our reality trying to display something it doesn't have the resolution for. You need me to complete Phase 2, I say. I need you to try. Because if you don't, the overlap consumes everything. And unlike Phase 1, Phase 2 requires the architect. The machine is keyed to your specific dimensional signature. He taps my left hand with one finger. That's why it bonded with you. Not because you're special, because you designed it to recognize you. A biological key. Irremovable. Unforgeable. But I erased the knowledge, the calibration, the equations. I destroyed them on purpose because getting them wrong would be worse than doing nothing. Yes. So how am I supposed to complete Phase 2 without the math? The broker smiles. The real one this time. Not installed. Earned. Sharp and thin and honest in a way that's more unsettling than the fake version. That's where Saren comes in. Saren. The woman in the photograph. The name that makes my ruined hand tremble. She was the mathematician, he says. You were the engineer. She was the theorist. The calibration equations were hers, and unlike you, she didn't erase her memory. She's out there, in the Eastern District, beyond the fuse barrier, with everything we need in her head. Then, why haven't you gone to her? Because the Eastern District is deep overlap. The fusion is total. Buildings aren't just merged, they're alive. The hollows there aren't scattered, they're organized. Hive behavior. No one I've sent has come back. How many have you sent? 7. The number sits between us. I'm number 8, I say. You're the only one who can survive deep overlap. Your hand doesn't just resist dimensional contamination, it navigates it. You're the only human being walking this earth who's partially native to the overlap space. The hollows can't detect you the same way. The fused structures respond to your touch. You're not immune, but you're adapted. I think about the mist parting, the frost, the way the buildings stopped vibrating where I touched them, adapted, like a deep-sea fish evolved for pressure that would crush anything from the surface. What's your price? I ask. Because the broker never gives anything for free. Dr. Yoon told me. Sarah told me. Everything I've seen confirms it. Survival, he says. If the overlap expands, I die. Everyone dies. My price is continued existence. I've spent 17 days building a power structure inside Haven because power structures are what I understand, but none of it matters if the world folds in on itself within the year. I'm not altruistic. I'm pragmatic. And pragmatism says the only path to survival runs through you and through that machine. The most honest thing he said. The most honest thing anyone in Haven has said. I look through the cracked window at the Veil engine, at the chair, at the wires, at Phase 2 pulsing on the screen. I built that. A version of me that doesn't exist anymore sat in that chair and poured dimensional energy into a framework of crystal and steel and broke the world with a misplaced decimal. The guilt should be crushing. Maybe it will be later. Right now, all I feel is the cold focus that's been living in my chest since I woke up. I'll go, I say. But I need 3 things. Access to this room, unrestricted. The radio I found in the pharmacy, with batteries. And the outer ring kid, the 12-year-old with the backpack. The broker's eyebrows rise 1 millimeter. The boy? He saw my hand freeze a cot in the dark and didn't tell anyone. That's either loyalty or fear. And either one is more reliable than anything else I found down here. I need someone I can trust on the surface while I'm in deep overlap. Done. What do I tell Maddox? Nothing. I'll handle Maddox. I handle Maddox by telling him exactly 1/3 of the truth. Morning briefing, everyone assembled. I step forward and say I've identified a high-value medical cache in the Eastern District. Deep penetration run. Solo. My Type 2 ice ability lets me navigate fused environments that would kill a normal team. Maddox stares at me with those flat, heavy eyes. Solo runs are against protocol. Protocol is a luxury for people who have enough antibiotics. The broker's scouts confirm a sealed hospital complex in the Eastern District. Surgical supplies, trauma equipment, pharmaceuticals we can't get anywhere else. I hold his gaze. Dr. Yoon's been treating burns with antiseptic and prayer. How long before someone dies from something she could fix with proper tools? It's manipulation. I know it. Maddox knows it. But it's manipulation backed by logic, and Maddox runs on logic the way the Veil engine runs on dimensional energy. 24-hour window, he says. You're not back by next blink cycle +1. We seal the eastern perimeter, and you're on your own. Fair. Dr. Yoon catches me in the corridor afterward. You're going after her, she says. Not a question. The broker told you. The broker told me enough. More than he should have, which means he needs my cooperation for something. She hands me a pack. Medical supplies, water, and a small device I don't recognize. Metal disc, smooth, with a single button. Frequency emitter, my own design. If the hollows are sensitive to dimensional resonance, this should disrupt their detection ability at close range. Theory only, never tested. How long does the battery last? 1 hour, maybe less. Use it wisely. Thank you. She grips my arm. Kael, if you find Saren, if the equations are real, come back. Don't try to be a hero in the overlap. Come back and let us figure it out together. I nod, but we both know I'm not good at coming back. The version of me who built the Veil engine didn't come back either. He just erased himself and left a notebook. I won't make the same mistake. The kid's name is Johan. He tells me this at the eastern perimeter barricade, clutching his backpack with the same white-knuckled grip. I saw your hand, he says. On the cot. The ice. I know. Is that why you picked me? Because I know your secret? I picked you because you kept it. He processes this with the two old eyes of a child who survived 17 days of overlapping realities. What do you need me to do? Stay at this barricade. Keep the radio on channel 4. If I call, you relay to Dr. Yoon. No one else. Not Maddox. Not the broker. Yoon only. What if you don't call? I kneel to his height. Then you go to Dr. Yoon and you tell her the 5th rule. The sky is not the sky. She'll know what it means. He nods once. Firm. Decisive. I climb the eastern barricade and drop into deep overlap. The difference is immediate. In Haven's district, the overlap is partial. Buildings fused but recognizable. Streets compressed but navigable. Here, the word street has lost all meaning. The ground isn't flat. It curves and folds, surfaces from multiple realities layered on top of each other. I'm walking on asphalt and tile and grass and metal grating simultaneously. Each step my foot chooses one surface, and the others shimmer beneath it like reflections in disturbed water. The buildings aren't buildings. They're geological formations of architecture. Walls emerge from floors at impossible angles. Windows look into rooms that contain other windows that look into different rooms in an infinite regression. Staircases lead up and down at the same time, depending on which angle you view them from. And the hollows are everywhere, not scattered, not wandering, standing in formations, rows, columns, hundreds of them, filling the overlap streets like a silent army. Their translucent skin pulses in synchronization with the black circle above. Their stolen tooth mouths click in unison, a rhythm that matches the sky's heartbeat. They don't see me. I walk between them, and they don't react. The broker was right. My contaminated hand, my dimensional adaptation, makes me partially native to this space. I'm not invisible. I'm just not foreign enough to register as prey. My left hand is bare, and the black fingers are changing. The charcoal color is spreading. Past the knuckles now, creeping toward the wrist, and the fingertips are developing a faint violet shimmer, the same color as the ring around the black circle in the sky. The deeper I go, the more I become like this place. I have a limited amount of time before the adaptation becomes permanent, before I stop being a visitor and become a native, before whatever's left of my human self dissolves into the overlap. I move faster. The hospital complex is where the broker's map said it would be, a massive structure at the heart of the Eastern District, less fused than the surrounding area. It sits in a pocket of relative normalcy, walls intact, geometry consistent, like the eye of a hurricane. The entrance is sealed. Heavy doors, reinforced glass, emergency locks engaged. I press my hand to the door and the frost reads it instantly. The lock opens. The door swings inward. Inside, the hospital is dark and quiet and almost normal. Emergency lighting runs along the baseboards, casting blue-white pools on linoleum floors. The air smells like antiseptic and copper. And footsteps. Coming from the 3rd floor. Light, deliberate, human. I take the stairs. The 3rd floor corridor is lined with patient rooms, doors open, beds empty. At the far end, a light is on in what was once the neurology ward. Warm yellow light, not emergency blue. Someone has power up here, real power. I walk toward it. My left hand is humming, the violet shimmer intensifying, the black spreading past my wrist now. The overlap is thicker here, even inside the pocket of normalcy. The air tastes like static. The neurology ward has been converted into a workspace. Whiteboards cover every wall, dense with equations, diagrams, dimensional models rendered in 6 colors of dry erase marker. A generator hums in the corner, powering a lamp, a laptop, and a bank of monitoring equipment that's tracking waveforms I recognize from the Veil engine screen. And sitting at the desk, her back to me, writing in a notebook with the concentrated intensity of someone racing a clock, is the woman from the photograph, Saren. She's thinner than in the picture. Her hair is longer, unwashed, pulled back in a knot. Her left arm is bandaged from elbow to wrist. She's wearing hospital scrubs and the kind of exhaustion that goes bone deep, past tired into something more structural. You took longer than projected, she says without turning around. My throat closes. My left hand, now black to the mid-forearm and shimmering violet, reaches toward her without my permission. You remember me, I say. I remember everything. That was the deal. You erased yourself so no one could force you to operate the engine. I kept myself intact so the calibration wouldn't be lost. She turns in the chair and I see her face and the wall inside my skull doesn't crack. It detonates. Memories pour through like floodwater. Meeting her at a conference, working together for 3 years, the laboratory, the whiteboards, the late nights and the coffee, and the growing certainty that the convergence was real and nobody in power would listen. Building the Veil engine in secret, testing it, failing, testing again. The argument about scale, she wanted to save the whole city. I said we could only manage a block. The compromise, the activation, the moment the readings inverted and I saw the numbers go wrong, and I reached into the field with my bare hand and the pain. The real pain that I couldn't feel before because the wall was blocking it. My hand burning and freezing and tearing itself apart at the molecular level as dimensional energy rewrote my biology. Screaming, Sarin screaming my name. The broker pulling her away from the machine as the overlap wave expanded outward and the world folded. And afterward, lying on the floor, knowing what I'd done, knowing that my hand was now the key and my mind was the lock, and if anyone ever made me sit in that chair again without the correct calibration, I'd destroy everything. So I destroyed myself instead. Poured everything into the wall, sealed it, wrote the rules, wrote the warning, and walked away from the only person who mattered, leaving her alone in a broken world with a head full of equations and no one to build them for. The memories settle like debris after an explosion. I'm on my knees. I don't remember falling. Sarin is kneeling in front of me, her hands on my face, her eyes searching mine. There he is, she whispers. I'm sorry, I say, and the words are so inadequate they almost make me laugh. Sorry for breaking the world. Sorry for erasing myself. Sorry for 17 days of her sitting alone in a dead hospital solving equations for a machine whose architect chose to forget she existed. Be sorry later. The overlap expansion is accelerating. My monitoring equipment picked up a spike 6 hours ago. We have days now, not weeks. Phase 2 needs to activate before the overlap reaches critical density, or stabilization becomes physically impossible. The calibration? She stands and walks to the whiteboard, points to a sequence of equations that covers the entire surface. Finished. Verified. Triple-checked. The original error was in the dimensional frequency mapping. You assumed linear progression. The actual progression is logarithmic. One variable, one correction. That's all it took. 1 decimal point. 1 variable. The distance between apocalypse and salvation, small enough to fit on a fingertip. But there's a problem, she says. And the way she says it tells me the problem is the size of everything. The engine requires manual activation. Phase 2 can't be triggered remotely. Someone has to sit in the chair, connect to the interface, and channel the dimensional energy through their body to establish the anchor point. That someone is me. You're the only one bonded to the engine's frequency. Yes. And when the energy channels through me? She doesn't answer immediately. She walks to the monitoring equipment, pulls up a waveform, the same one the Veil engine displays, the same one that matches the sky's pulse. The anchor requires a complete dimensional bridge. Your body becomes the conduit between all overlapping layers. Every layer's energy, every frequency, every reality channels through you simultaneously. What happens to the conduit? In theory, once stabilization is achieved, the energy dissipates and the conduit survives. In theory, the math supports survival. The math also supported a localized shield the first time, and we both know how that turned out. I look at my left hand, black to the elbow now, violet shimmer, pulsing in sync with the sky, in sync with the machine, in sync with the overlap itself. I think about Haven, about Sarah on the barricade with her crossbow, about Mirai counting her 40 seconds, about Jay listening to the world with ears that miss nothing, about Dr. Yoon treating burns with prayer, about Johann sitting at the eastern perimeter with a radio and 2 old eyes, About 300 people in a district that's shrinking every day as the overlap expands. About millions beyond the district who don't even know what's happening yet. Show me the calibration, I say. We work through the night. She dictates. I build, not physically, not yet, but mentally. Reconstructing the activation sequence from her equations and my recovered memories. The engineer and the mathematician doing what we were always meant to do, solving the unsolvable in a race against a clock that doesn't tick so much as pulse. By dawn, I have it. The complete sequence. Every step. Every variable. Every failsafe she's designed to keep the energy from cooking me from the inside out. The failsafes are theoretical, she says. Everything about this is theoretical. If it works, the overlap stabilizes. Every fused building stays fused, but the process stops. No more expansion. The hollows remain, but they stop being hostile. They become neighbors instead of nightmares. Two realities sharing one space permanently but peacefully. And if it doesn't work? Instantaneous, full convergence. Every layer collapses into a single point, which would be, from a physics perspective, very similar to the conditions immediately following the Big Bang. So, success means a strange new world. Failure means no world at all. Essentially. I radio Johan on Channel 4. Tell Dr. Yoon, Phase 2. Today. The sky is not the sky. She'll know. Static. Then his voice, small but steady. Understood. Saren and I leave the hospital at dawn. She carries a hard case with calibration equipment. I carry the knowledge of how to end the world or save it, with a margin of error I try not to think about. The walk back through deep overlap is different now. The hollows are still everywhere, still in formation, but they're restless. The synchronized clicking has broken into chaotic patterns. They sense the change, the acceleration, the approaching critical density. One of them turns toward me as I pass. Its smooth, eyeless face tracks my movement. Its mouth opens, and the teeth inside chatter once, twice, then stop. It doesn't attack, but it watches. They know something is about to happen. We reach Haven's district by mid-morning. The perimeter barricade opens for us. Johan is there. Dr. Yoon is there. Mirai and Jay and Doc and Sarah with her crossbow, and even Go, the sub-level 2 guard, who looks confused about everything but follows the crowd. Maddox is there too. He sees Saren. He sees the hard case. He sees my arm, black past the elbow now, shimmering violet. "What is this?" he says, and his hand moves to the holstered gun. "Salvation," the broker says, stepping from behind the barricade where he's been waiting. Clean jacket, pinpoint pupils, or extinction, depending on one variable. Maddox draws the gun. Sarah raises the crossbow. "The overlap is expanding," Dr. Yoon says. Her voice cuts through the tension like a scalpel. 14 blocks today, 20 by tomorrow, 30 the day after. There's a machine in sub-level 2 that can stop it. He built it. She has the math. If we don't activate Phase 2 within the next 12 hours, there won't be a haven to protect. Maddox's jaw works. I can see the calculation behind his eyes. The same calculation he's made every day for 17 days. Threat assessment, risk management, the cold algebra of survival. If it goes wrong, then it won't matter, I say, because the overlap will consume everything anyway. The only difference is speed. He looks at me, at my hand, at Saren, at the broker, at Dr. Yoon. He holsters the gun. Do it. Sub-level 2. The Veil engine. The chair. Saren calibrates the machine with hands that are steady, even though her eyes are bright with tears she won't let fall. She inputs the corrected equations. The screens fill with data. The hum builds, resonating through the walls, through the floor, through my teeth. I sit in the chair. The wires connect to my left arm. The dimensional energy recognizes me instantly. A warmth that isn't warmth. A vibration that isn't vibration. A homecoming to a place I never wanted to belong. "Ready?" Saren asks. I look at her. Really look. The way I looked at her before I erased everything. And for 1 second, the wall is completely gone, and I remember all of it. Every morning, every late night, every argument and reconciliation, Every quiet moment when the math didn't matter and the machine didn't matter, and it was just us. Ready. She activates phase 2. The energy hits me like every ocean in the world poured through a straw. Every layer of reality channels through my body simultaneously. I feel the overlap, all of it. Every fused building, every hollow, every vertical column of dead water, every stolen tooth embedded in every ceiling. I feel Seoul and not Seoul and the other Seoul layered on top. Cities that almost match but don't. Realities that rhyme but never repeat. The pain is absolute. The kind of pain that exists beyond screaming, beyond nerve endings, in the space between atoms where dimensions collide. My hand burns black and violet and then white, pure white. The color of the sky that isn't a sky. I feel the anchor forming. The bridge between layers, stabilizing, locking, holding. The overlap stops expanding. I can feel it stop, like a held breath, like a heart between beats. The hollows, all of them, across the entire district, go still. The clicking stops. Every stolen mouth closes. The vertical water columns shudder. Some collapse. Others hold, but stop pulsing. The sky flickers. The black circle contracts. Not disappearing, changing. The violet ring widens, brightens, becomes something almost beautiful. A permanent seal. A scar in the atmosphere where two realities agreed to coexist. The machine's hum peaks, holds, then slowly descends to a low, steady tone. Stable, constant. The screens read, Phase 2 complete. Sarin kills the power feed. The wires disconnect. The energy dissipates. I slump forward in the chair, breathing hard, tasting copper, seeing spots. My left hand, I lift it. The black is gone. The violet is gone. My fingers are my fingers. Normal skin, normal nails. There's a faint scar, like a healed burn, running from my fingertips to my elbow. A reminder that something lived there once. But the adaptation is gone. The machine took it back. The key used itself up in the lock. Saren's hand wraps around mine. Normal hand to normal hand. Warm. The math worked, she says, and her voice cracks on the last word. I pull her close and hold on. Above us, the survivors of Haven are emerging onto the surface for the first time without watching the sky for blinks. Sarah lowers her crossbow. Johann drops his backpack and stares upward with eyes that are, for the first time in 17 days, the right age. Doctor. Yoon stands in the light and adjusts her cracked glasses and smiles. The hollows stand in the streets like statues, motionless. Their translucent skin is changing, becoming more opaque, more defined, more like something that belongs here, because now they do. Two worlds sharing one space. Not a collision anymore, a merger. It won't be easy. Nothing about coexistence between overlapping realities will be easy. The buildings are still fused. The water still stands in some places. The hollows are still alien and strange and full of teeth that don't belong to them, but the expansion has stopped. The clock is no longer ticking. And somewhere in the Eastern District, in a dead hospital full of whiteboards and equations, a lamp is still burning. Warm yellow light in a world learning to hold two truths at once. I walk up the stairs with Saren's hand in mine. We step into the light. The sky is not the sky. It never was. But standing beneath it now, with the violet scar shining overhead and the impossible city stretching out in every direction, I think maybe that's okay. Maybe the sky doesn't have to be what it was. Maybe it just has to be enough.